I'm going to have to plug some earphones in because I can't hear you. And I'm on my laptop, and I don't even know where to plug it in, but I'll find it. There, I found it.
Well, let's get started, everybody. Thanks for giving me a couple of seconds to finish some things up.
Okay, I have earphones that don't stay in my ears. But anyway, were you able to hear me, Cheryl?
Yes, I was. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
All right, can everybody see my screen okay?
No. I'm doing something wrong because I'm not on my normal.
Your head's cut off, but other than that, it's fine.
All right. All right. Well,
not my head, right?
No, Scotty's.
Oh, okay. I'm sharing my webcam for whatever. Why don't?
Okay, Joan, is that okay? Can you hear us all right?
Yeah, I can hear you now, but
yeah, my sound's usually
I'm
a little.
Doing something wrong.
My sound's usually a little low.
Okay, now, all right. I hit share my webcam, but I'm not seeing anything right now, so I'm doing something wrong.
I see you.
Yep, we see you. Okay. All right. Well, let's get started.
What?
Well, we're going to get started here. So, Daryl, you might have been first to arrive. So, what have you got on the agenda this evening?
Okay, Scotty, I want to change the default program for Word, Excel, and PowerPoint to Pages, Numbers, and Keynote.
Okay, and I think we talked about this last week, so let's see if this will answer it for you. The default program for a specific file is designated usually by the last three characters. So in this case, on my desktop here, I have something that says Lake Norman Sailing .doc. So if I were to double click it, by default, that opens up to Word, because Word grabs all the .doc files. But if I do a right click, and if I don't have a right click, I can click on it once and go Command-I. It does the same thing, gives me that info window. From there, then you can see what the default program that it's going to open with is. In this case, because I have changed it just like you want to change it, I have changed the default text to be, the default program to be, when I double click a .doc file, to text edit. But maybe I want to change that to Pages or Microsoft Word or even Preview. So you'd select it there. When you select it down here, it's going to ask you a question down here. Do you want to change all? And yes, I want to change all. Now, if you didn't want to change all, maybe you have one specific program, one specific file that you want to open up to a Pages document, one specific file that you want to open up as a Microsoft Word document. If you noticed, I had text edit. Now, you might be thinking, why would he have text edit? Text edit is the fastest, in my opinion. So when I double click this file, I want it to open up as quickly as possible. So, and maybe I'm not really editing this file, so I just double click it and it opens up in text edit real quickly. It doesn't look pretty and all that, but that's the fastest way. All right?
Okay, so that's a Control-I?
Command-I. So Command-I. Yeah, and I get information about that window right up here. And then I can go in and open with.
Can you change it there?
Yeah, and you'll have all your choices. Now, let's say here's a web link, a URL. So my choices, by default, it's going to open up into Safari. But I have other choices that don't have anything to do with Word. This would be choices like if I had Firefox installed on this machine or if I had Chrome installed on this machine, those would list there. All right?
Okay. Yep, thank you.
All right, let's go on to Joan. Joan, what have you got?
Nothing.
Okay, nothing?
Just, not really, no. No, thank goodness everything is working well.
Excellent. All right.
I had trouble seeing your screen. I had to drop out and come back in, but I now see. My one question is, why am I the only woman that ever opens her webcam?
That's a good point. We should start. You know, I think we should have a rule. How about this? How about if you have been in town hall,
Cheryl?
If you have been in town hall for more than 3 visits, on your 4th visit, you should have to be required to turn your camera on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I got the backing of Joan on that one.
No. I sure do.
All right.
Well,
but
that's.
No, hi, Daryl.
I'm in. Hi, Joan.
No, we're not going to force anybody.
Thank you, Joan, for all your help last week.
You're more than welcome, and thank you for your nice gift.
Well, we're not going to force
Okay, is
anybody.
there something going on that the rest of us want to know about?
Now, you don't want to know about it, Cheryl.
I didn't say it.
That was
Well,
Joanne.
Daryl got to go on a nice trip, and we helped him out by taking in his mail and newspaper, and they gave us a lovely gift. So we're very grateful.
I
Yeah.
sent Scotty a gift, too.
Yeah, he sent me some pictures of my old stomping grounds, and man, well, it's just such a beautiful vacation you had. So, well, let's move on.
Where was it?
Oh, Daryl?
I went to Miami. That one picture of the causeway was taken from the 29th floor of an apartment building on Brickell
Yeah. Just
Boulevard.
beautiful.
That's going over to
The Rickenbacker
What's it
Causeway, Key Biscayne,
yeah, but what's the island over there? What's it called?
Star Island,
No. The big one where the
it's Key Biscayne.
Key Biscayne, right? Key Biscayne.
Yeah, Madonna used to live. I think Gloria Estefan and Madonna were over there on the other one, Star. All right. Well, I see Bob has popped in, but we're not going to get to Bob yet. We're going to go down the list here. So I'm going to go to Joanne next, and then we'll get to Cheryl. Joanne, what have you got this evening?
Okay, based upon what you did the other night, I want to see if we can change what I'm about to say.
Okay.
To get my incoming mail, I have to go through all mail because not all incoming mail is showing up in the inbox.
Okay.
And my icon is telling me, like on my phone and stuff, not how many incomings I used to have. I mean, how many incomings I have like it used to, but it's showing me all of my unread email.
Yeah.
So between that and the incoming in the all mail, junked up with all the other stuff, I'm going crazy.
Okay.
And Cornelius.
I think I can understand at least half of that, and I understand all of it, but I might only remember half of it as I answer. So to share a little bit of Joanne's plight, she had an issue where she lost all of her email through some problems that came up, and it ended up, and you like how I put that? And it ended up in the only place that it could be, and if everybody's looking at my screen, and Joanne knows how much I hate talking about this folder, but it ended up in the all mail folder down here. Now, just to kind of go back to talk about this with everybody so everybody has a frame of reference, on the left-hand side of your mail program, and I'm using Apple's stamp right now, the stamp, you have different categories and different groupings. At the top, you usually have your different inboxes, so if you have more than one email address. And then a little way down, there is a group of folders for every IMAP-based account. Now, just to throw out to everybody what IMAP is email that syncs. If you delete it in one area, it's deleted in the other. If you mark it red, it's marked red on another device. And back in the old days, we didn't have IMAP mail. But now we do have IMAP mail. And along with synced up IMAP mail comes these folders. Now, if you're using a Gmail account and you have an IMAP email address set up, because some people set it up as a POP account back in the old days, that's what all we used was POP. So if you have a Gmail address and you've enabled IMAP, then you have this folder, this sort of whitish folder, or really light gray folder, and then within it there's all these other folders, including all mail. Now, this is where I get really frustrated dealing with everybody, and it's not their fault, it's just a very hard folder to describe. But if you think of the words all mail, that means every piece of mail that you have. Your deleted mail, your mail that's been moved, your sent mail, the mail that you started, every piece of mail. And what happened with Joanne was she got all of her mail kind of disappeared, but it ended up in this folder. So our plan going forward, and I'm going to get to your answer in a second, Joanne. Our plan going forward for her was to dip down into this folder, look at what she needed to see, deal with that email, but then from now on, all of her newest mail was going to come back up in her regular Gmail folder at the top of her computer. Are you with me so far, Joanne, and you agree with all that so far?
Yes.
Okay, but here's her problem. Not all of her Gmail, new mail, is coming in to the top mailbox up here. Some of it, she can still see that it's in all mail, but it's not landing up here. Is that correct, Joanne?
Yes.
Okay. I think that Joanne has junk mail or some really heavy spam filtering turned on. And I think what's happening is some of the email that she thinks is important, the computer doesn't think is important. And I think that it's moving into her junk mail box, although it's in all mail because even junk is mail. So it's in her all mail folder, but it's maybe not landing in the top inbox. What do you think about that as a statement, Joanne? You think that's a possibility?
I don't think we changed the spam filter.
Let's go take a look at
It
it.
should be the same.
Can we take? You want me to walk you through it here, and you do it on your own, or or do you want to take a look at it? You want us to?
No, I can do it.
All right, hide all the secret documents, and I'm going to ask to control your screen.
Okay.
Okay. So you should see a request to see your screen, to share your
Yeah,
screen.
I clicked on yes.
Okay. All right, now we're all looking at Joanne's screen. And Joanne, if you would open up your mail program.
I don't see my screen yet.
We see your screen, and we see your GoToMeeting window that you've got open, and we see your that's Safari. So why don't you move your mouse up to the top left-hand corner and hit the yellow button in the middle to minimize that.
Okay.
Yeah, the yellow button and the top three buttons. There we go. All right, so now let's open up your mail program, which is in the dock down there at the bottom.
Whoa, I minimized you.
That's okay. You don't need us. I want to
Yes,
get to
I
your.
do.
I want to get to your mail program.
Well, I need to see you.
Okay, so yep, open this back
Okay,
up.
hi.
Hello back. Okay, get to your stamp. All right. So let's say maybe, Joanne, you got 25 emails today, but only 15 of them showed up in the inbox, and the rest are in the all mail folder. All right.
Correct.
So let's take a look here at your all mail folder.
Me?
Yes, you're driving right now. You're the show. Okay, so there's all of your mail. Now, some of those are marked as junk mail. So you see the little junk next to, well, it looks like you've gotten more since then. So move your mouse over to that column and scroll down just a little bit.
Like this?
Yeah. All right, now you see those two there, and you see the little junk pictures of garbage bags next to them?
Right.
The computer right now thinks that that is junk mail. So that's not going to show up in your inbox. So don't go any farther than that. Would it be true to say that two of those emails from Oliver are two of the emails that are not in your inbox?
Correct.
Oh, good. So we're getting to the bottom of the problem. So what we need to do is to talk about junk mail real quickly. Joanne, if you would go up to the word mail in the top left-hand corner of the computer screen and select your preferences. Mail at the very top. And under that is preferences. Great. All right, now you're going to see junk mail as one of your choices. And there it is right next to accounts. So select junk mail, and we're all going to kind of talk about this. And I'm going through this slowly enough, hopefully, but this is important for everybody. Now, if you see here, you have 3 levels of junk mail. Now, not everybody turns their junk mail on, but you have 3 levels of junk mail. And right now, Joanne's is selected to be the top. And what that means is the computer, if it thinks that it's junk mail, it marks it as brown, and then it leaves it in the inbox. But we have 2 other options. We could just say, you know what, I don't even want to see it. Move it into the junk box. Now, the people that choose that second choice, and I'm one of those people, the people that choose the second choice, every once in a while, they still need to go look in their junk mail box and see if Uncle Larry sent them any email that they haven't seen in a long time. They've been waiting for an email from Aunt Owen, and we don't know where it is, but I bet it's in the junk mail folder. And then there's the third option where you can do certain things, and I never choose the third option. That's for more advanced users, even than myself. I don't think it's something we need to go into. So what I think we should do here is go into these where Oliver was marked as junk. We need to tell the computer that is not junk. And then we need to drag a copy of it, Joanne, into your inbox. And then the next time Oliver sends you an email from that address, it should stay in the inbox and it should not be marked as brown. You follow me so far?
Yes.
All right, so let's hit the red button and close that. Let's then go find, over in that left, that column, let's go find one of those that was marked as junk with the little trash can next to it. Okay, now you're going to go to the top area and it says not junk. See where it says not junk up there on the right? You might not see it, but good. Select that. Yeah, so click that. Now, that is not junk from now on. And what I like to do is take that email and drag it up into the inbox. Just so I've got that email in the inbox, because selecting it as not junk doesn't automatically move it. So take the the word Oliver down there. Yeah, and you can do that one too if you want. And you're going to drag and drop it in. Right. I would drop it into, well, Gmail, I guess, is because that's probably where they sent it from, or sent it to. Okay? Now, I think that hits everything for us. And you might also, Joanne, check the spam folder as well. Now, last thing on this, and I know go ahead.
Should I recheck that second box instead of the first?
Recheck the second box. If you want to, I think in your case, with your situation right now, I say don't. I say leave it, let it show up so that you can see it. And then I've been using this email for, gosh, 17 years, and I still, every day, say that's junk, that's not junk. And I'm constantly using that not junk button, okay? So it's one of those things you never grow out of. Go ahead.
Okay, so I shouldn't change that setting?
I wouldn't right now if I were you. I would not. I would leave it as sitting in your inbox, marked as junk brown, and then you make the determination on yes or no on the junk, okay?
Okay.
Last thing, and then I'm going to move on to Cheryl, if she's around. Last thing, Joanne, you want to check that spam folder as well. Now, the spam folder, the contents of spam are dictated by Gmail, www.gmail.com. Your stamp doesn't have anything to do with whether or not that goes into spam. In other words, spam and junk are the same thing. Gmail uses the word spam. Apple uses the word junk. But Gmail filters it before it really lands onto your computer. The junk mail filter we just talked about filters after it lands on your computer. And last thing, none of this works on your iPhone. If you have your computer turned off, you're probably going to be getting junk mail. The spam gets filtered before it gets here if you're on a Gmail account, but that junk mail still usually shows up. All right? All right, we're going to move over to Cheryl. Cheryl, thank you for your patience. What's going on this evening?
Oh, I got a whole bunch of questions, so I guess I'll start with, I finally got Gate Backup Plus Drive.
All right, great. I love that drive.
And I think you said that you run this before I upgrade to, was it Mount Lion?
Are you on 10 point? Well, it doesn't matter whether you're on 10.5 or 10.6, really, for this question. Yes, you should run it. Do you want some help setting that up and us get this time machine going? Or have you already done that?
Yeah, because I started with that's where I ran into problems right away, and I didn't want to go any further because when I did this with the iPad, I lost everything.
Okay, well, great. And this is the most important question that we could ever answer, and that is how to back up. You have a brand new hard drive sitting in your house, and we need to get this thing backed up. So let's jump over. Is it okay if we jump over and take a look at your screen?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So you'll see a request for us to share your screen. All right. Now, and this is a perfect example here of, I'm so glad that we got to you before you did anything with this.
I wasn't going to go any further.
And and I have so many people that get confused on this. Every drive company, when they sell you the drive, they give you this drive with all this extra software on it. And everybody thinks that their software is great and they want you to install all this stuff. Well, what we're going to do, Cheryl, is we're going to say, we don't care about that software on this drive. We're going to use Apple's software. And I think that Time Machine is great. I really love it. So that's what we're going to do. So we're not even going to look at this stuff on here. So what I would like you to do is close the red button over on the left-hand side of that window that's open. We're going to close all these windows.
Okay.
Yep.
You know, the first question that it asked me,
Yeah.
I didn't know what to pick. I clicked Sign Later.
Yeah.
That was, do you want to use CD Backup plus Drive Backup with?
Yeah. I wish that they just. Yeah, it's like a trap. We don't want to use this software. This software is not nearly as good as Time Machine. So let's so let's just red button all this out. We want to close all of those.
Everything.
Yes. Okay, now you see down in your dock, you have a picture of a hard drive with a blue arrow pointing down at it.
Yes.
That's the piece of software that's running right now, and we want to quit that piece of software. So if you will click and hold, thank you, and quit that. Now, I want you to go up to Spotlight at the very top of your computer, the perfect, and type in the word disk. Now you will see a result that's disk utility. Move your mouse down to the word disk utility and select disk utility. And Cheryl's really smart. She minimized her GoToMeeting window already so that she could see what was underneath that. For anybody in here that hadn't been in here in the past, you know your GoToMeeting window on the right-hand side, we can't see that as viewers, but you, the user, can see yours. Okay, now what I'd like you to do, Cheryl, is go select the 2TB C-gate, sorry. Yep, that's it.
This?
Yes. Now, before we do this, I need to ask you, and I'm pretty sure the answer is no, have you drug anything or have you saved anything onto that hard drive? I don't think that you have.
No, I just plugged it in, took it out of the box and all.
Perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to erase everything that's on that drive. We don't care what's on it. We're going to use Time Machine. There you go. And now go select, instead of Format, where it says MS-DOS, click that, and you're going to choose macOS Extended Journaled at the very top. That's right. Now, in name, why don't you call that Time Machine? Okay. Now at the bottom there, hit erase, and it's going to say, are you sure you want to erase? And you're going to say yes. Okay, this will take about 10 seconds. Hit OK on that. Let's select the bottom one beneath it down there. I'm sorry, I jumped kind of ahead of you. Go to where it says 2TB, where you were over on the left-hand side, and select the one underneath that. The yellow one under, yes. Yeah. Yes. All right, let's try to erase that one. So same thing, Format, macOS Extended Journaled. I did one of these earlier today, so it shouldn't be a problem, but I'll explain to you why that did it in a second. So select, yes, that's right. And now title it Time Machine. This is another reason I don't like the Western Digitals, is they put software in place so that you can't do this as easily, and this is what we should be doing. So yes, erase, and let's see if that'll do it for us. If not, we'll swing a bigger stick at it. Yeah, okay, hit OK on that. I hate when this happens. Okay, go to the top one again. No, the one below that. Yes. Okay, see the word partition? Let's select partition. Let's see if that'll do it for us. Yeah. Okay, you see where it says current up there at the top? Select that and click 1, partition. Okay, now use the word untitled1 and change that to Time Machine. It's normally not this complicated, but some drives don't like to be erased. And who can blame them? So now apply, and let's see if that'll help us. Yep, partition. Okay. Oh, I hate that. All right, we'll forget it then. Hit OK.
Since I didn't do anything, when it asked me that,
No.
when it Mac only and it would erase everything, it would work.
No, it's just what it's saying is the software that's on it right now doesn't want to let go, and that's okay. Well, I could do it if I were in person, but it's not that big a deal. Let's go to System Preferences, and we'll just do this another way. Go to System Preferences.
So close this?
Yeah, you can close that. That's okay.
Can I get there?
Black Apple System Preferences underneath the Black Apple in the top left-hand corner. There we go. And now go to Time Machine. And select Time Machine, which is the fourth row, about second to last, right? Okay, select Backup Disk. And select that guy up there at the top, the yellow, and use for backup. Yeah. And let's try to erase it from here and just see what happens.
As long as you know what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're not going to lose anything. There's nothing on it. Let's see if Time Machine will do it. Yeah. I think what we've got here is the cart before the horse. Your operating system, I believe, is... Are you in 10.6 or 10.5? 10.6. Okay, and you have plenty of RAM there, which is good too. Go hit that red button to close that out of there. Open up a Finder window. I want to see what this is. You can hit OK on that. I want to see. Yeah, it's not formatting. Shoot, we need to get this thing reformatted because right now it's formatted as MS-DOS, and it needs to be formatted for Mac OS Extended Journaled. Let's take another shot at this, and let's see if we can format it as MS-DOS and then format it as Mac OS Extended Journaled. So hit cancel on that. Let's go back to Spotlight, open up Disk Utility. This is usually a million times easier than this, but for some reason today... Go to Spotlight, top right-hand corner, and type in Disk Utility again. We're going to see if we can reformat this thing... Yeah, and there's Disk Utility. We're going to see if we can reformat this thing as MS-DOS first. Okay, select the 2 TB and go to Erase. And then choose, leave it as that and hit Erase. Just leave it as that. Hit Erase. And Erase, and let's see if that will do it. No. Okay. Hit OK on that. I have special software on my computer. When I run into this, I can plug it up on my machine and just wipe it, but you don't have that. So it looks like we're going to have to dance with the devil. Close. Yeah, we're going to have to let Seagate in on the loop with us, and I've never seen Seagate act like this. Western Digital does, but not Seagate's, but this is the first.
If I upgraded that
No.
whatever,
No, it might, but we need to get this backed up, so that's really irrelevant for us then. So let's close that. Let's close that.
Does it not matter if the Time Machine is off?
Well, see, right now, Emma Day, we cannot turn it on because the drive is formatted for Windows out of the box. And while it works as a storage drive, Time Machine has to have a Mac formatted drive. So what I'd like you to do, Cheryl, is open up a Finder window. So go to the Picasso face in the bottom left-hand corner there. And select that Seagate Backup Plus over on the left-hand side. Oh, that might be why, too, is that installer over there. Go to that installer. Yeah, okay. All right, go to the folder called Seagate, which is to the right there. Yeah, let me see what's inside that. All right, we don't need that. Go to the one below that says DMG at the end. Select that. And let's double... Oh, shoot. How did you get that other software? Let's double-click that. That DMG file. I want to get back to that folder you just closed a second ago. Okay, let's dance with the devil. Go to Mac Install App, which is the little blue triangle that we were trying to get rid of. We're going to need to run it. So let's run it.
double click this.
Yes, that's right. And we're going to be right back to where we started. It's like we've been running around in circles here. Now select Mac only. And now next. And erase. And let's see if this works. Okay, that'll take a second. And Open up a Picasso happy face again for us. And when that's finished, that will show up on the left-hand side over there. While that holds, while that's making its process, let's make use of our time. I'm going to pause on you, Cheryl, for a moment. I'm going to jump up to Bob. Give me a rough draft of what we're going to be hitting. I might not be able to jump in with you yet, Bob. Actually, I'm going to pause on you, Bob. Looks like we got some progress. So now if you'll just use as backup, Cheryl, just use as backup.
This one?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Now Time Machine is in charge, and Time Machine will make your backup. So Cheryl, that's your first plan, is you had to get your backup going. And this is going to take a couple of hours maybe. It might take an hour and a half or 2 hours to run this backup. Before I move to the next person though, Cheryl, as you can see the picture of me, we'll get to that in a second. You see your keyboard, like the one I'm holding in my hand? You have USB ports on your keyboard. Is your hard drive connected into your USB ports on your keyboard or to the back of your machine?
I have no USB ports on this keyboard.
Okay. All right. Oh, it might be a wireless keyboard then. All right.
It's a wireless. I came with my Mac.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Let's just, I'm not sure what's installing on your machine over there, but let's hit continue since we were in the middle of something. We'll see what it is here. Continue. And let's see what that was. Yeah, that's Seagate's software. Sure, continue. We'll let them install their thing. We might uninstall it later. All right. You are set for now, Cheryl. Okay, I'm going to jump up to Bob. Bob, thank you for your patience. What can I do for you this evening?
Well, mostly spectating. I thought to let you know, since I saw you last, I've got a new iMac, and my wife has a MacBook Pro.
Wow.
Air, excuse me.
My goodness. You're loaded for bear over there then, huh?
Yeah, I'm still dealing with converting from Ready, Set, Go, and that's a struggle.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know. I'm just going to pick on you for a second, Bob, because there's a good lesson to be learned on this. Bob had used one type of software, one piece of software that he loved, and he did not want to let go of it, and he didn't change with the times, and then that piece of software was sort of abandoned, and then there have been others, and then others, and then others. So since that time, he's using, let's say, a piece of software that may have last been updated 5 years ago or 4 years ago, and all these other versions of things have come out. And the longer you wait, the harder a transition it is. Most of us felt this pain about 8 years ago when we were all using ClarisWorks. And ClarisWorks was the word processing program that we were all using. And then Microsoft Word came along. And a lot of people stuck their head in the sand and said, no, I'm not going to use Word. I'm going to continue to use ClarisWorks. And for a while, we had the ability to transition. And then the next version, it said, we'll still open ClarisWorks. And then the next version of Word said, well, we can open ClarisWorks program documents, but we might not really be able to manipulate them. And then the last version just said, we can't open these things. Why haven't you changed before that? So, Bob, I feel your pain on this conversion of these older files.
You know, the best thing that Daiwan can do is suggest waiting for them to produce a converter application, but they don't have any idea when that might be. And secondly, they suggested a partition. When I talked to a guy out in California, he says, I cannot partition this Mac.
That's actually, that's a good suggestion, whoever suggested that. What you're talking about, what Bob's talking about, is creating two areas on his computer, one that is the new 2013 area and one that's sort of a retro area that he could run all this old legacy stuff in, and he could boot back and forth in between the two. That's a pretty interesting idea, Bob. Wait.
But they suggest that I can't run the old systems on this machine.
Because it's PowerPC. Did we talk about that? Is it PowerPC? It's not even Intel-based software. I bet that's what it is. And that old PowerPC software won't even run on an Intel chip. That's why you can't partition it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyhow, and I'm here with my wife Leslie, and she has a question on her Air.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, there are pop-ups that come up occasionally, and they say that they're new applications or updates. How do I know which ones are the security feature rather than just... I saw one that said iTunes. I have no interest in iTunes.
Yeah, that's a great, it's a good question. there's two answers to this. For the most part, and I forgot your name, Bob's name. What? I'm sorry.
Leslie.
Leslie. All right, Leslie. For the most part, you're using 10.8, which is the latest version of the operating system. So all of these updates that drop down and you see them, Leslie, they are from Apple and they're through Apple, and you can trust them. Now, and Apple has a built-in piece of security, which I'm not really a big fan of, but I wanted to mention it here, that keeps other programs from installing that have not passed through Apple. In other words, that Apple has not given approval to. So you could go in and turn that on, and then safely in your mind just say, I'm just going to install whatever asks me to install through the software update. But I'll tell you, I'm going to tell you how to do this, and I'm going to tell you why I don't like to do it in just a second. When you're in your system preferences, you go to security.
Okay.
Now, once you get to security, you will see another little 3 option. Let's see if I can load up my security settings. Now, my options down here are grayed out at the moment, so I have to click the lock to unlock them. So I'm going to unlock that. Now I can make changes. Now notice it says allow applications downloaded from, and right now I've got mine selected to anywhere. Now, Apple wants you to select the top one. Only allow applications that come from the App Store. In other words, only allow applications that you acquire through Apple's tunnel to get to you, which is that little App Store, the blue letter A in your dock. Now, then there's the middle choice, allow applications to install, and this includes updates, by the way. Allow updates and software to install that is not only from the App Store, but also on our good list, not the naughty list, the identified developers. Well, there's a problem with this. There is lots of really good software out in the world that is useful to us that we'd like to install from time to time that Apple has not considered an identified developer, and therefore if you have it selected as either from the App Store or from the top 2 choices, it won't let you install. There are lots of examples. I can think of several. Probably VLC might be on the list. VLC, I know that's not something that you guys are familiar with right now, but there are other people in this call that have used that program. And here's the other thing. If Apple gets mad at one of their software developers, they could just take them off of the list. For instance, I guarantee you that one day Apple is going to put Adobe Flash on this list of we're not allowing it. And then people are going to, my email's going to be flooded by people saying, Scotty, I can't install. The computer says it won't install Flash. And the reason will be that Apple has put them on the naughty list because Flash is on their naughty list right now, but they're an identified developer. The other thing about this little section here, Leslie, is that Apple wants all the software to go through their App Store. You know why? Because they get 30% cut. Yeah, they get a 30% cut on it. So look at these settings over here, and for you right now, Leslie, since you're kind of new with your machine and you are concerned about security, then you might select it to say, well, you know what, only the Mac App Store and identified developers. Then you can go ahead and run all your other software updates. Even though you don't use iTunes, you're going to need to run that update regardless. Otherwise, it's just going to keep bothering you for the rest of your life. Just
it keeps coming back.
Just cut your losses and just run the update. And you'll be good to go. And then later you might move around. You may become, and I can't remember your level of sophistication. I think you're pretty high. But one day you're going to run across an app or an application that you want to install, and it's going to say, sorry, you can't do this. And then you're going to come over here. You're going to remember that we talked, and I record all these so you can go back and look at them. And you're going to say, Scotty said something about that security setting in the system preferences. And you're going to go over there, and I'm going to show you what it's going to do right now. I'm going to unlock it so I can get in. And I'm going to click anywhere, and it's going to go, what? Are you serious? Are you crazy? Do you really know what you're doing? And notice that the big blue glowing button they want you to click is cancel. But I'm going to say no, allow from anywhere. It's okay. I'm going to continue to use my computer like I have the last 20 years. All right? And it's a great security feature for viruses that may come down the line. But right now, we don't have to worry about it so much. All right?
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Long answer for a short question. I apologize. Emma Day, let's jump over to you. Emma Day, what's popping?
I think you just answered one of my questions.
All right.
one of my emails said check security settings on your computer to find out what can open this or something.
That's right.
So I must have one check that is
You have
not
it.
any.
That's right. You have it in the Mac store. Yeah, and if there was a piece of software, Imade, that you wanted to get, and it sounds like you were out catting around on the internet, and you came across a
Well,
piece
it
of
was something somebody sent me in an email.
yeah.
And I couldn't open it.
Well, that's a good point too. And this is a moment we can kind of just stop for a second and talk about viruses and bad guys. There are those out there, and there are, you know, I would be naive and I would be incorrect if I said to you there's no such thing as Mac viruses. I'm sure there are, but I have not seen them in the wild. Luckily, it's not a concern for us right now, knock on wood or whatever. It will be one day. And most of the time, they're going to come by someone tricking you into doing something, somebody tricking you into installing something. And luckily, even when a virus gets sent to you, if I was a bad guy in a day and I email a virus to you, you're going to have to open it and you're going to have to install it most of the time. And it's going to ask you for your password. So you have to use common sense on this. So Imade, if you got a video, let's say, and you double clicked on that and it says, oh, well, you need such and such to open this video. If you make the option, if you say, well, I know this was a video coming because I asked for it, and I know that they're using a Windows machine and I have to install Flip for Mac, and you notice I've got Flip for Mac down here, which is a little video conversion software. I know I've got to install that. That might not be on Apple's good list. So when I install that Flip for Mac that helps me see that video, Apple's software might say, no, you can't do that because we don't know, you know, we can't vouch for these people. So there can be there's a little risk there. It's a double-edged sword. But like I said, though, Imade, for the most part, luckily right now, we still don't have to worry about these things. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. What we do have to worry about are the people that are phishing in emails for us to go log into a website. Banking, people pretending to be banks or pretending to be PayPal or pretending to be Mint or some of these financial services that are on the internet. Oh, hey, this is E-Trade. We want you to know that your stocks, great news about your stocks. You've gained 3.2% in your stocks since your last trade. Now, maybe you use E-Trade. If you don't, that would definitely be a red flag. Like, what are these people talking about? But what they're doing is trying to get you to go to another website that looks like E-Trade, and you log in, and all of a sudden you've given them your actual stock information. 5 minutes later, the guy in Russia has transferred all your stocks over or converted them, and he's out the door. That's what we really have to worry about.
If this was someone I knew and it said something like WMB on it, would that be safe, or could someone actually pretend to be someone I knew?
It's not just that. Yeah, they could pretend to be. And we've had this happen before. I have it probably every week. I have someone that, and it's mostly AOL users, because AOL is the least secure of all email, in my opinion. About once a week, I get an email from a client who is still using AOL, and it says, hey, you need to check out this Canadian pharmacy, and there's a great deal on Viagra or whatever. And that they didn't send that, but someone got into their email and sent it on their behalf. So, I got to tell you, it's not, we're not past the point of thinking that not only they could pretend to be somebody else, they could include a video that's not really a video. It's a malicious program. But most of the time on the Mac, it's more people trying to gain your personal information by tricking you to go to a website. So don't click on a link on an email unless you were expecting it from that person, really. All right?
All right. I've got that for that, but I'm not really sure what it does. Is it, would that be what I'd use to open something that was safe?
Well, to refine the question, that would be something, that would be a program that you use to open a video that you cannot see. But that brings me to this other point here of when I mentioned earlier tonight, VLC. VLC is a program that exists on the internet, and you can download it for free. And I've said this before, it's the Swiss Army knife of video. So if someone sends you a video in an email, you could drag it to your desktop and then right-click and open with VLC. But you have to have VLC on your computer first. Say that again?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't cost anything.
I think I've got it, but I'm not sure. I don't know.
If you ever get a file, and I'll say this just again here, if you get a file in your email, what I like to do is drag that file to my desktop. Once I've drug it to the desktop, then I like to right-click on that file and I choose to open it with something that I want. I don't like to just double-click, and you see, Daryl, I've got the same issue you had, but I don't even care about it because I don't look enough at it. Then I'm going to choose to open this particular file in the program that I want to. And that's what you can do in a day. You get that video, you drag it over to the desktop, then you do a right click. Now, if you don't have a right click, you can hold down the control key and then click on it. And if you hold the control key and click, that's the same as right click. If you're using a laptop, you take 2 fingers. It's not a 2-finger click like dut. It's a 1 click with 2 fingers touching. That's also right click, and that'll do it as well. Yeah, did you hear that, Leslie? All right.
I just bumped her chair to see if she was listening.
Steve Jobs.
Is
Jobs.
that called VLC?
Yes, VLC, and it's a great program to have. It's a really useful program. Steve Jobs was, of course, you know, one of the greatest innovators of all time, or businessman, or whatever you want to call him. But I think about my mom when I think about right click. For years and years and years, we have had a mouse. I've got one laying around here. Apple's had their mouse that was a 1-button mouse. And Steve Jobs, when they originally designed that mouse, it had 2 buttons, a right and a left. And they took it to Steve Jobs and he said, no, I don't want a right click. And the designer said, well, Steve, we got to have a right click. Right click is actually really useful. We can, you know, right click and do stuff. And he said, okay, well, keep it, but I don't want to see it. And I want to make it invisible. So for years and years and years, Apple have made mice and trackpads that you look at them and there's no right click on there. There actually is, but you have to go in and turn it on. So the right click on the laptop by default is 2 fingers touching. You actually could go into the system preferences and change it to say when I click on the right side of the trackpad, that's a right click. You could actually do that if you wanted. All right, so enough on that. Let's open it up. I've touched everybody once, so let's run around and just anybody jump in and rudely interrupt. Daryl, you had your hand.
Okay, Scotty, I changed. You want to come over to my screen, please?
Okay. All right. These are really good questions this evening. Daryl, you should have a request. Okay, we're looking at Daryl's screen.
Okay, there you go. There's a Word document that I changed 2 pages.
Okay.
All right. Now,
Okay.
if I go to File,
File save. You're going to save that as a .pages document.
Let's go to Quit.
Yeah, and it's going to say, oh, well, you've been using this as a .doc file.
Oh, see, now I lost it. Hold on.
I think I know what you're asking, though.
Yeah, where do I put it? In the cloud or on my Mac or where?
Oh, that's another great question. I am becoming more of a fan of Apple's documents, iCloud documents. There are 3 games in town when it comes to cloud-based storage. Now, what I mean by cloud-based storage...
We'll change it, and we'll go File, Save As.
Yeah.
What you want to do?
Yeah. Actually, there are 4. There's Dropbox that a lot of us have talked about. And hold right there for a second, Daryl. All right. Microsoft now has what they call SkyDrive. So if you buy Microsoft Office and you save a document, you no longer have to save it on your computer's hard drive. You can save it to their hard drive up on the internet. The advantage to that is that you can open up another computer and get to that file very easily. Google has something they call G Drive or Google Drive. I think they call it Google Drive. And you can save it to their space up on the internet. Apple is also in this game, and they call it iCloud. So here Daryl has a document that's sitting on his computer, but he could choose to save it up to the cloud. Now, the reason he might want to save this up to the cloud is because then it's automatically available through Pages on his iPhone and through Pages on his iPad and through Pages on his laptop. But Daryl cannot go and open up that document on Microsoft Word on another computer. These are all very exclusive clubs right now. You can only use Google Drive with Google Document. Well, that's not a good way of saying it. I'll say it like this. Apple only allows you to use iCloud with Pages, Keynote, and Numbers. So just know that you're not going to be able, there's no file system for you to look at with iCloud, Daryl. So you just save it and it just goes up there. And the only way you're going to see it is by going to another application on another device, opening up that Pages application. It has to be Pages, and then you'll see your document. But you can't just go drag it up.
So if I don't want to put it in iCloud, do I put it in Daryl's iMac?
Yeah.
Or Mac HD?
Put it in your Documents folder. That would be the appropriate place.
Here.
Yes, and your Documents folder lives locally on your computer. But that then also means that if you want to work on that on Pages on your iPad, you're out of luck. You can't get there. You can't get to your Documents folder from your from your iPad.
Okay, will this give me a Finder window?
Yeah. Yeah, if you click it. Now, see on the right-hand side over there, you got a little square with a triangle pointing downward on the right-hand corner. Click that, and that's what you really want to see. That's not grayed out, is it? There we go. Yeah, now this is more what you were looking for, right?
Yep, that's what we're looking for.
Okay, well, there you go.
Okay, thank you.
And Dropbox is the king of them all. All right, who else? Who's got another?
I feel
I do.
All right, well, Joanne, and then we're going to go to Emma Day next. Joanne, what do you got?
Okay, I don't know, you answered this before, but is there a way for my incoming emails to show up on icons as opposed to all of the mail that I have not read?
I'm going to send you an email right now, and let's see what box it goes into. Let's see. I'm losing. I've had a couple people tonight send me an email saying they could not get in.
But Scotty, that's not my question. My question is, since you worked on it, I keep like the icon on my phone tells me I have 9 messages.
Yes.
When I really only have 2, but 7 of them I have not read.
Oh, those 7 are left
So
in
I
the.
just wanted to say 2.
Then you need to take those 7 that are in the all mail, and it's a needle in a haystack because you got about 30,000 in that all mail box. Go find those 7 that are currently unread and mark them as read. Does that make sense?
Okay, but that will, yes, but I continue to get ones that I don't read. And in the old days, it would only show the incoming, not all of them that were unread.
Yeah, I don't
And
know.
I think I'm speaking mostly about the iOS devices.
Oh. I'm gonna have you ask the question again for me. So I'm trying to wrap my head around it. I don't know that I have an answer for you.
Okay, on my iPhone, for example, the phone icon would only show the number of incoming messages that I have. It would not show or include like 10, meaning that there's 8 that I haven't read. It would only show the 2 that were incoming. In the old days.
I think I know the answer
Sunday
to that.
night, and now it goes over.
All right. And you want it to show all, or you don't want it to show all of those?
No, I do not. I just want it to show what's new incoming.
Okay, I think I might know the answer. In front of your iPhone, and tonight for some reason my iPhone's not showing. Let me see if I can bring it up one more time here. Find your phone, your iOS device, and go to Settings.
Yes.
I'm going to see if I can get this to show up one more time. I think I've got it. So we can all walk through this at the same time here. My phone should be showing up. My dog says hello. Shoot, it's not showing up. Okay, we'll just walk through it. We'll just walk through it on the fly. Go to your settings, and once you're in settings, navigate down to mail, contacts, and calendars. For some reason, my phone's not mirroring tonight. once you get to mail contacts and calendars, go to the word mail where it says show. What number do you have it set as? 200 most recent messages, 50 most recent, 1,000 most recent? What does yours say there, Joanne? Do I need to walk you through it again? What does it say? What number? 50. Okay, so within the last 50 messages,
50.
yeah, within the last 50 messages that are on your phone, only 2 of those are unread. But if you were to switch that to a larger amount, like 1,000, then the emails that may have come from September that are unread are going to show up as unread messages on your iPhone. I think if you enlarge that number, if you make that number larger, that will give you those other 5 or 7 that you're missing in that iOS inbox. Because you might have 3 unread messages within the last day or 2, but you might have 5 unread messages from 4 months ago, and those 4 months ago old messages are not on your iPhone. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I don't want to see the unread messages. I only want to see, for example, the 2 incoming messages I got an hour ago.
So I guess you'd leave it on 50, and those other unread messages might be within the 50. I don't know that I can. Well,
But they never used to be.
Well, it's going to show you whatever is unread within that number. If they are unread outside of that number, it's the 51st message, it won't show. But if it's unread, it should show in that 50 as far as Gmail is concerned. Now, the other discrepancy could be that your real estate email is not on your phone. And it might be that you're looking at 2 emails on your Mac, so maybe 5 plus 2 equals 7, 5 in Gmail, 2 in real estate email address. And then you're looking at your iPhone, and you only have Gmail set up. Would that make sense?
No, because I haven't gotten anything in the real estate file.
Okay.
See, if I had 2 incomings before and 5 unread, it would only show the 2 incoming on the icon on my phone. But now it shows 7.
And is
and
7...
it includes the ones that I have not read.
So 7 are the number of unread messages, right?
Well, let's say 5 are unread and 2 are incoming.
But have you read those 2 that are incoming? You haven't looked at them, right? They've come in, but they're unread messages.
Right, but I don't look at them now because it'll say 7, and I don't know if they're incoming new or unread.
But as far as the computer is concerned, an unread message is a new message. It's marked as unread. So if you look at my screen here, this person that says Bell South, or let me go down a little way. This person right here. Now, they sent that to me 2 or 3 days ago. I'm going to mark that as unread, and as far as the computer doesn't distinguish, or the phone doesn't really distinguish between a new message and an unread message. It just says, hey, here's what's in your inbox. So it sounds like it's doing the right thing to me. You just have to, one of the other useful things that's new on iOS 6, by the way, is when you look at an email and you go, oh gosh, I want to mark that as unread, you actually have to hit the flag button now. You hit the flag button, and then your choice of marking it as unread shows up on the device. I don't know that I'm going to be able to help you more than that. I know a name of a good therapist, though. I joke. All right, we got a little. We're coming close on time. Does somebody else want to jump in and interrupt? Go ahead, Bob. Yes.
Scotty, the sound from you is coming through crystal clear, but everybody else speaking creates an echo.
Correct.
Something
Yeah,
wrong
we
with
live
my
with it.
end?
I'm not hearing that echo tonight.
I do, but I live with it.
I do.
Really bad echo.
Me too.
It might be. Maybe I'm too loud. Maybe if I turn down, how's that? Check 1 2. Check 1 2 3.
You're clear, it's the other ones. Right.
That came through fine.
Yeah.
Now you're all clear.
Yeah. I might.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe I fixed it.
Yeah. My headphones. I mean, Bob, I've had the most tumultuous time with sound in these meetings. I've had to give up. I've worked 6 months trying to get the sound right on these meetings. I speak loudly and I've got my volume up, so that's it. Yeah, just let me know next time a little sooner that I've got that feedback, and I'll go to some headphones. I should be using headphones myself.
Kind of funny for a music major to have a sound problem.
Well, what I'm trying to do is record the screen with GoToMeeting, and there's a latency, there's a delay, as some of you have known. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I've lost my mind over it. Emma Day, I skipped over you, and I apologize. I wanted to come back to you, and then I'm going to hit Cheryl one more time. Emma Day, what did you have?
Well, the one question I've got is, when I was taking pictures with my phone yesterday, it said that I didn't have any storage space, and when I went back to iCloud and did the storage there, it let me do more. But I wonder what I've forgotten what the difference is between iTunes Match and just, which is it? Is iTunes Match in the cloud, or is it on your computer? Which way is it?
Okay. So this is a two-part question here, and it's a really good question. This is kind of an advanced question, a little bit. But what Emma Day is asking about is iTunes Match, and then she's also asking about the storage on her phone. I'm going to start with storage on your phone first, Emma Day. If I go to my phone, I've got my phone plugged up into iTunes right now, and if I look under the Summary tab, I see that I can back this up one of two different ways. I can either back up on the computer locally, and right now I've got a wire connected, so my phone backs up to this computer when I plug it up. I could also just select, hey, back it up over Wi-Fi, sync it over Wi-Fi, which is nice. But I could select iCloud, and I have said this, I say this probably at least every other session that we have on Mondays. I don't care for using iCloud as the backup because Apple is going to ask you to buy more space eventually, and you don't need to give them any more money when you can just plug it up. So I suggest that you leave it backed up to the computer and not through iCloud. Now, your contacts, your calendars are still in the cloud regardless of whether you select that button. Your documents, like Daryl was talking about, those are still in the cloud regardless of whether you choose that button. Really what you're selecting is if you select this button back up to iCloud, then your phone, the arrangement of the icons, the order that the icons come in, what apps you had on the front page and what apps you had on the second page and that kind of thing, that's really what's being backed up because your contacts, your calendars, your pictures, those are all moving to your computer regardless of whether you even plug this thing up or not. So that's the first part. So I would suggest, Emma Day, my preference is to not use iCloud as a backup for my device. I would rather use this computer. Okay?
I've heard you say that before when I was doing that, but it didn't let me take any pictures or do anything at the point where
Now,
I was rather from the Mac.
that's the second part of your question. Right. And the second part of your question then, Emma Day, is why is my iPhone full? Is really what it is. So if you notice in this summary tab down here at the bottom, I have a 16 gig iPhone. See, that capacity is 13. I rounded up to 16. And of that, I've got almost 4 gigs available. Now, you mentioned iTunes Match, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. If you were to plug up your iPhone, Emma Day, to iTunes, you would see that you probably don't have much space down here. But it would tell you, yeah, it probably says, hey, you got a lot of pictures, or you have a lot of apps, or you have a lot of music. And we're going to get to music in a second. So one thing that you could do is you could import the pictures into iPhoto. Once you import them into iPhoto, it asks you a question. Would you like to delete them off of this phone? And you should say, yes, I want to delete them off of the phone because I want to free up space. If you're a if you're a shutterbug and you take a lot of pictures, then you really should be taking them off of the phone. All right? So plug it up.
I don't know how to go back and do it.
Well, you plug it up just like this. All right, you got it plugged up. Once you plug it up, open up iPhoto. And my computer's going to get slow here. I'm using a slow computer. But when I open up iPhoto, on the left-hand side, my camera, other known as a phone, is going to show up on the left-hand side of iPhoto, and then I'm going to select to import. Now, it may say, well, you've already imported a lot of these. And I would say, yeah, well, okay, then skip the ones that I've already imported. But once you do that, after you've imported them in iPhoto, that's when you get the question, would you like to delete them off of the phone? And you would say yes. Now, you remember a little while ago when we were talking about those security settings and they had the cancel button glowed, but I said click the white one, the glowing blue, remember? Well, it's the same thing here. When you import these, at the end, it's the glowing blue button is going to be the one that you don't want to choose. Don't delete is the one that's glowing blue. You want to hit the white button on the left that says delete, and that will free them up off of this phone. All right?
I don't see where the white button is. I mean, if you've already imported them and kept them,
you won't see it until you import them. I'm going to do it right now. I have connected my phone to iPhoto.
On the phone, and now I don't know how to get back to them again.
All you got to do is just take one picture. Take one picture, and then that will be one of them. Now I'm going to import these, and hopefully it won't take too long. Hey guys, I made bread the other day. I've never made bread in my life. It took me 2 tries, but the first time I failed miserably, and the second time I made delicious, wonderful bread. Greatest feeling in the world. Yeah, my computer's going to get... Say that again? It's trying to import those now. Oh, it looks like it's going. Okay. I've lost you a little bit. We got some... It's probably me. Whenever I open up iPhoto on this machine, things start to go slow. It's trying to import those pictures now. There we go. Now this, right there, that's the question, Emma Day. That's the one that you got to get to. And then you would say...
But once you've kept them, and I've kept them all.
Yeah, you kept them. Yeah, they're taking up space.
Get rid of them.
Hit that delete.
Kept them.
Hit that delete button. Oh, take another picture. I said take one more picture, plug your phone back up again. If you take one more picture and you plug your phone back up, then you're good. But notice they put a new button here, by the way, too. Notice I select... my phone over on the left-hand side, and look what down here. Remove photos from Scotty's phone.
Oh, so I take them off the phone, then I take the picture and delete all the ones on the phone.
And then you're left with that little button there. Now that button is only going to show if you click the iPhone on the left-hand side. If you're up in your photos area up here at the top, you can't see them. You have to have the phone selected to see that button. Okay?
And then you take all of them off the phone?
Yes. Yes.
Then you just open iPhoto to see the pictures?
Yes.
Or the movies or whatever?
The movies get moved over into iPhoto as well. Then, if you want to put back on the phone maybe the trip to Africa that you took and you went on safari, and you want those pictures with you on the phone, then within iTunes, in iTunes, with your phone selected, you would go to the Photos button up there at the top, and then you would say, well, I want to sync photos, but I only want to sync certain photos, and then that's when you would choose the Africa trip. I'm running out of time here, guys. I didn't get to the Cheryl. I'm going to get to your last question here, but I'm going to skip that iTunes Match question for this evening, Emma Day, and I'm going to just jump over to Cheryl.
Okay.
All right, Cheryl, what's your last question there, Cheryl? And then we're going to close up.
I'm scared now because I think this is going to take a long time with doing this time machine thing.
Yeah, it will.
And so what happens if I run into a problem that it's asking a question and I don't know what to do? I don't want to wait a week for next Monday and not be able to use my computer. Do I just end it and start over?
You're talking about with the time machine backup?
Yeah, because I've never used a time machine before.
You don't have to do anything. It's doing its job right now. If you look at the top right-hand corner, Cheryl, you see a little clock, and that clock is turning counterclockwise. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, it's doing its job. It's running right now, and you may even.
It's just going to say close.
Well, you know what? I would walk away from it, and then tomorrow morning, you're done. It's done. It's backed up,
Okay.
and it backs up every hour. But you see that little progress bar? Yeah, it does. You see that little progress bar on maybe it's on the bottom of your computer, and it's a time machine backup bar, and it's moving slowly.
Yes.
All right, we're not looking at your screen right now, but you know what we're talking about. Once that is finished, then you can go ahead with your update, because once that is finished, that means that the computer has backed up.
And you're talking about the update of going the operating system.
10.6 to 10.8, right? And remember, you're going to do
I'm
that.
not going to get any question like I did with the iPad, and I screwed up and I lost everything on the iPad. I cannot lose anything, you know.
That's why you're backing up. I'm going to point something out to you here. This computer right here, a person was doing a Mountain Lion update from their from the App Store just earlier today, and their hard drive died in the middle of the update, and they lost everything because they had not backed up. You, Cheryl, you are backing up because you've got a hard drive connected, that time machine is running, and after you see that bar go all the way to the end, and it might be 2 or 3 hours before it's finished, that bar is going to disappear, and you'll never see that bar ever again. But once that bar has disappeared from your computer, you can rest assured that your computer is backed up. So if you had some... Go ahead.
It doesn't take this long to back up every hour.
No.
Now. It's just the first time.
Yeah, it's the very... Yeah, you're moving in everything. So once you've moved in everything, then you can start kind of...
And then I leave it plugged in at all times?
Yeah. Yes.
And one last question I have, if we can, real quick.
Take it.
Because it only has 16 minutes left. Again, my father's driving me bonkers, but now you guys got me all scared because it seems like you're really talking experienced stuff. So I think my dad would just lose his mind if he comes to these meetings. But I don't know if you can come to my screen quick.
Yeah.
But you mentioned in the video that I watched about that like would say i5 quad core,
yeah,
i6, i7.
Yeah.
What happens when they don't? What happens when they don't say it, but yet, like for example, I was looking at one that was in 2000, released in 2007, and it said i5 quad core, but then in a 2008 and a 2009, it had nothing about an i something.
Well, first of all, you can judge by the color of the iMac. If the iMac is silver, like that one is, then it's at least a Core 2 Duo. So anything silver for your dad would be fine. Anything silver would be okay. The quad core, I'm sorry, not quad is wrong. The Core 2 or the Core Duo, which you might have heard me mention, that's more relevant to the white. I've got a white one over here. The white iMacs. So I think really your most general basic rule of thumb when you're looking to buy a computer off of eBay is as long as it's at least a silver iMac, you're okay.
Okay. And then somebody had mentioned, okay, if I get this for him off of eBay, you know how you normally say when you go to an Apple store, they set you up an account and this and that. How do you set up an account with something that you didn't buy from an Apple store?
He would have to do that on his own, or if you wanted to help him set an iCloud account up, that's like maybe what you're talking about. An iCloud or an Apple ID is what he would maybe want to use. Does he have an iPhone or an iPad?
No, and he lives out in the middle of nowhere, and so now I'm getting nervous. Maybe he shouldn't go into Mac, but...
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just a decision you have to make. My mom is the same way. She lives out in the middle of nowhere. My mom would love nothing more in the world than to join us every night, every Monday. She would love, but her internet connection is so terrible. She uses Windstream, and I just absolutely, she can't even join the meetings. She would love to, but her internet connection is so bad, she can't even make use of, and she has a Mac, and she's at the same level, well, she's probably below a lot of other people in here, but she would love to learn more about it and ask questions, but she can't. So, you got to think about the speed of your father's internet connection too, if he lives out in the middle of nowhere, truly.
Well, he has a fast internet connection, but it's some weird email address, and but if we got him the Mac, the first thing he has to do to run the Mac is set up a Mac ID, correct?
Not really. If he never wanted to buy any applications, if he never wanted to use iCloud, he wouldn't have to. And
when it says that it has this Mac 10.8, isn't iCloud included in that?
iCloud is a service. iCloud is an ability. The basics of what iCloud is it syncs your contacts and your calendars from a computer to another device. If you only have one computer, there is no reason to have iCloud. There's none, really.
Okay. So when this says memory, it says 2 gig here, but down here it says 4 gig. And it also appears as a 24-inch screen, but down here it says a 20-inch screen.
Well, that's a problem.
Well, they addressed it down here.
Oh.
And I don't know what the heck, it's saying but I don't know what this port thing that, wherever the heck that went to. Oh, 400 and 800 was got asked, and I don't know what the heck that is, the ports.
Yeah. It's nothing that you need to really be concerned about. Really what you're looking for is a silver iMac that has at least 2 gigs of RAM, and all the silver iMacs are going to have 2 gigs of RAM. So all the other details are...
Even though this is over his budget, if I can get this over and done with it and get him a stupid Mac, then I don't have to search eBay anymore.
Yeah.
So this looks like it would be a decent computer.
Yeah. As long as it's silver, and you look at the 99.8, that looks pretty good. He sold 4,000 things, so the guy looks legitimate. You look at the seller's rating and what the pricing is. Make sure that they're not boosting up the price because they've added software that they're not going to give the original discs for. Anyway, we talked about that. Then you're good. And as long as there's no major cosmetic issues, or and they're disclosing, what they're selling. I have bought computers from off of eBay before, and I've had good eBay experience. I've had bad eBay experience, but it's just like going to Walmart. You have good and bad. All right.
Okay. So, but go ahead and before next week, go ahead and upgrade to the highest operating system.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And if something happens in the middle of it, what do I do? Just double click on this time machine thing?
If something happens in the middle of it,
yeah, like I upgrade and I lose everything, like I did the iPad. I lost everything.
Well, that's why I exist, and that's where I mean to sound rude. That's how I make my money, is when things go wrong. So, but yeah, I mean that's people like me exist for those reasons. But I think you're going to be fine. The one thing that I don't like is this ridiculous software installing on the left-hand side of your computer. Let's move over here to this install Seagate dashboard. No, the one over on the left-hand side. I don't want to use, yeah. Let's see if we can get out of that.
You mean this?
Yeah. Hit cancel on that.
This is with this.
Yes, I understand what that is. Let's hit cancel on that. See if we can go back. I know. Yeah. Hit go back on that down below. See if we can get back. Okay. Hit the red button. Okay. If that pops up again, just don't install it. Just hit the red button and make it go away. Okay. Well, what's most important for you is that what you just drug. That's the most important thing. Yes, you've backed up 1/8 of your computer. All right, so just let that go. Once that's done, you can go out and have a party because you have 2 copies of everything. All right, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you guys again soon, and I'll have this posted by tomorrow morning if you need to go back and check on anything. All right, thanks, guys. Great questions tonight. Bye.
The organizer has ended the session, and this call will